Hello and welcome back to the All New Nerds podcast. I believe episode 39, if I am not mistaken. Almost to the big,
Something like
the
that.
big 4-0, almost at a midlife crisis, guys. And here we are joined by very special guests, the Convor call, Corey and Aubree. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah, good. Hi, guys.
Thank you for coming on.
I think they deserve
Golf
a
clap.
but you know.
Well, I didn't want to I don't want to
yeah.
clap right in front of the mic and just
Yeah.
hurt everybody's ears.
I'll
ringing.
edit some crazy
Wow.
just
applause.
Yeah,
Going
we can
nuts.
put in some sitcom.
Spider-Man, do
applause or
Spider-Man No Way Home reaction like that
Yeah,
audio
yeah.
from
Yeah,
the theater.
exactly.
Put that in there. Yeah, people just
Exactly.
losing their
Yeah.
minds.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I this is so has nothing to do with this podcast at all. But since you just mentioned Spider-Man reaction, I did record our reaction in the movie. I just had the audio.
First
going.
time?
Yeah, the first time that we went
Yeah.
in. So
That's cool.
It was fun.
it was really cool. I will never publish that or anything. But it was
Yeah,
just
I know. It was
cool.
something to have. Yeah, my phone died the first time I saw it, so I wasn't able
Oh,
to. But
that's
we
rough.
actually all saw it together. Levi actually flew over to us to
I did.
to
Flew
see
out.
it. So
Meet
So
the
it was fun.
guys.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, the
did
second
that.
time I saw it, I
Vlog, not to
the audio.
plug the vlog,
Not to plug,
we
but,
did
you know,
vlog the
not
experience.
to
vlog.
plug the vlog.
So
Plug. Very good
Check
vlog
out
that Johnny
after
made.
this podcast, please.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very good vlog.
Anyways, but yeah, Spider-Man was good.
Yeah,
think
I
we
mean,
all agree.
Spider-Man. We can talk about. We do have a sort of a loose outline here, but we know
Yeah.
we've been watching your content long enough. If it goes off in a direction, just let it. You know,
Just
we
let it
can-
go. Absolutely.
Just let it go. You know, that's how
Let
it
it
goes.
go.
That's how it goes
Let it go.
sometimes.
That's right.
That's how it goes sometimes. I mean, one of the things that this immediately jumps out to me is you guys have changed your background so many. This is off topic on me. I'm just looking at the
Dude,
background.
I tell you, yeah.
It
Levi's
changes.
on-
It changes
Yeah.
often. Specifically, I'm looking. I have my comics over here, and I'm seeing the Battle of Jabim, and I know that Aubree is more into that stuff than Corey is, from my memory. And I don't know,
Corey's been
I'm-
really into
That's true.
Battle
No,
of Beam lately,
well, I
though.
will say that Aubrey's more of the the lore sort of comics and books. So I find out everything through her. Every time there's
Hey, guess what, Corey? I'm in the same boat. Levi is the
Levi's our
lore
lore
master.
master. Clearly,
yeah, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can tell.
I'll just think of.
I
a random,
have my
Star
collection,
Wars
but I'm
thing,
not
and I'll
in that room right now. I don't have a book collection. I'm more of a figure collection.
Johnny and
yeah.
I were on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we're the Black Series hot toys.
Yes, there we go. That's where
Yeah,
we're at.
slaves to Hasbro is what I like to
Yeah.
call you.
Yeah,
Actually,
man, it's rough.
Another off topic.
Well,
Levi and I
no,
just bought our first Hot Toys, right? Because you got
I got Django, but we'll get to that. I
got
want to hear what
Django, got
yeah.
Captain
Good
Rex.
Django.
I did get Django.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
See,
his
that Boba
first.
Fett hype, that
Yeah.
threw you in.
Yeah.
That's what
I
happened.
did.
Yeah.
I did.
Got you.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
yeah, I did. I was like, oh, he's like the ultimate
Yeah.
clone. He's the
Yeah.
coolest one.
He's the OG,
He's doing the flips. But
I
you
don't
were
have to
saying
Yeah, I
Courage
just
to
got
buy Hot
my
Toys.
Rex, which is my first Hot Toys ever.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's
You
it's
guys.
beautiful. It's
we have a
beautiful.
problem. We have a
I
problem.
remember the stream. I remember the stream with you and Ross when
Uh-huh.
the pictures first dropped.
Oh my god, yeah.
And,
that
that was a crazy night.
I think I titled that episode "Best News of Our Lives" or something.
Yeah,
It was just
it's
Ross
true.
and I,
It was.
Greatest
I
day
was
ever.
there with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
funny.
it was
Yeah,
great.
and I think we did that for the Ahsoka, which is still not out after
No.
a year. and a
No,
half.
delayed again. Delayed and delayed. Yeah.
Yeah, we love delays. I do want to circle back to the publishing thing though, because I know most of our fans here, you're here for the live action stuff. Not a very small percentage of the people read the publishing stuff, but 2021 and 2022 are pretty huge years for Star Wars publishing. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
get that in there. So yeah, you were saying though, we sort of cut you off about the figures, but
Oh yeah, Jabim.
yeah, it was going on the Jabim tangent, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
High Republic Fallen
I've
Star
just
just
got
came out. A lot of
so
stuff.
into the Clone Wars comics recently, the ones from 2003,
Horse.
2005, and
Yes.
the Battle of Jabim just
Oh, the
really,
legend stuff. That's great.
Yeah, it really popped out to me as a really brutal moment in the Clone Wars, and so I'm pulling 9-hour shifts at work now, so I can literally just listen to audiobooks most of the time. So I listened to the Revenge of the Sith novel the other day, and they dropped a Jabim reference 3 or 4 times,
Oh wow.
and I
Yeah.
felt cancer.
I
Just
know what that is.
Before
That's awesome.
the Clone Wars came out, the 2008 Clone Wars, the interconnective story between the novels and the Dark Horse comics and the animated show was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Asherard Het, which is like a Tuscan Jedi in those comics,
He's
that
the
era of
best.
comics, is
Mhm.
like who is the best? Yeah, I mean, Darth Crate, as you may know him, larger audience, you know,
Mhm.
is like something that's been coming up recently because we're getting all this Tuscan stuff in Book of Boba.
Mhm.
But
Well, I think like 5-6 months ago, you told me that he was Darth Crate. I had no idea, and that kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, like you were
Yeah.
reading the Jabim comics, and you were like, "Oh yeah, there's this guy." I was like, "Oh, it's Asher Het. That's Darth Crate," and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, he's sick. I love
he
him.
is. It's a
really cool.
it's a very cool character.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in general, Star Wars publishing. Like, I don't know. I know, Aubree, I think you've mentioned that you're not all the way caught up on High Republic, but Fallen Star just came out the other day, and
Yes.
that's been making waves in the community. But you
Yes,
know,
there's a few heartbreaking parts of Fallen Star that have made me sad.
See, I know about that. I know nothing about like the High Republic, but I just like
But you
check.
know who
yeah.
died?
I'll
in
go
Fallen
on
Star?
Reddit and I'll just be like, okay, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
Reddit's a good.
Any High
synopsis.
Republic related thing, I'll see something. I'm like, Levi, what does this mean? And then I'll get paragraphs, essays about
it was
what
funny. A super weird story. When I was out there in on the East Coast in Boston, they have like a friend who, you know, he just mutual friend circles, and we were having dinner, and he was just talking about how Porter Engle could beat Luke Skywalker, and I was like, what? Like, I just sort of like heard that, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh,
You say
right.
Porter Engle? And he was like, yeah, you know, I'm reading Light of the Jedi right now. I'm only like halfway through, and I was
That's
like,
so random.
and I was like, what? Okay, like, you poor boy. He's like, yeah, man, I love Loden Greatstorm, and I was like, okay.
Aw.
I
Well, we'll
was like,
get more
yeah.
Porter in
Yeah,
wave 2 or
in the wave
phase
2.
2.
In the
Yeah.
past, back to the past.
You guys are just speaking
Yeah.
gibberish to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
let's-
I have
let's
not
let's
touched a High
refocus.
Republic book.
Yeah, everyone, they've tuned out by now. You know, you got to make those first 5 minutes interesting.
I need to listen. I was trying to listen to the Light of the Jedi audiobook. I got about 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
I need to
You
keep
know,
going.
You're
And
doing
then-
good.
And then what happened?
Yeah,
I
well,
just like there's okay. Here's my thing. All right, maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. There's so many names in these books
Mm,
that are like
hard to keep
like-
up.
Dude, they're like 3 like words.
Well,
Okay,
actually-
and
oh man, try reading a Thrawn Ascendancy book, man. It's
no, so that's never happening.
Oh,
But
the gist.
that's why like Revenge of the
Just
Sith, I'm
names.
like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme. I know these characters.
I
I know these. Yeah, right. I know these
So
guys.
easy. And then like High Republic, it's like here's like I don't know Sutu Mu or something, and I just like I
Sutu
Well,
Mu.
you were even. I think a part of it though is you were listening to Light of the Jedi, couldn't get into it. But to be fair, Light of the Jedi is pretty hard to wade into at first because it's like
Yeah.
a waiting game until
It's
the
a
great
slow
disaster.
burn.
That's what I've
Okay,
heard.
Yeah.
well,
That's
to
what
be
I've heard.
fair, I think I can brave it now because I started reading the Kenobi audiobook and or
Yeah, I
listening
saw
to
your
it.
tweet
And,
about. I saw your tweet about that.
dude, well, I'm listening to it and I realize about an hour and a half in, I'm like, oh wow, Obi-Wan hasn't shown up in this Obi-Wan Kenobi book yet. and then he shows up for like 10 minutes and then he leaves again, and then an hour and a half he's back. So I'm
False
assuming
Isn't
advertising.
that like the old pitch for the Kenobi series or the Kenobi movie?
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
was gonna
oh
be?
yeah. That
It's
was
gonna be
you
like-
find Kenobi at the end.
He wasn't coming to
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
episode or
Oh,
whatever.
don't do that.
God.
oh
Ugh.
yeah.
Could you
I mean, I
imagine if that was
yeah.
that's what, knowing what we know now, like that was the original, that was what we end up getting. Ugh.
A
People
lot
would
of
not
the
have
old
been happy.
pitches for Kenobi, like we've like heard a little bit about a lot of them, and they seemed really cool, but they seemed very, very like based off the book. So it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see where it goes now.
Because I'm interested in the Kenobi book. Like I'll keep reading it and until I'm finished it. But like yeah, it's about moisture farmers and
And
Hmm.
Yeah,
Indians
they're moisture. You know,
and-
they're farming.
The
yeah,
best-
they're-
You gotta,
Yeah.
hey, farmers
More
gotta farm, you
Tatooine.
know?
there's
More
like a
Tatooine.
retail
So much
worker.
Tatooine.
Yeah.
I want to
So
get
They
much
said there
Tatooine.
was like a Tatooine Walmart or something.
Oh yeah, so this is what kind of threw me out of the book was in the audiobook version of it, when you go to like a Tatooine store, they have the sound effects of like carts rolling and like scanners,
Oh,
like
man.
Walmart scanners.
Oh no.
And so
Tatooine
the whole-
Walmart.
And like Obi-Wan shops at one point because he's like new to the planet. He's like getting pillows and stuff. And I just
Yeah,
it
I
was
can't-
just-
They literally show that of
I
him
can't
getting
do-
like
yeah.
home
God, this
appliances.
audio
and stuff.
anyways.
I can't do audiobooks for that reason. Like
Okay,
I
that's
can't do
fair.
them at all because I have to read it and then imagine it myself, and then that's also I'm better with like name retention that way.
Right.
Like I may be
Yeah.
saying the name wrong, but at least I like know it in my brain.
No,
Like,
that's probably right. Because even in the Revenge of the Sith novel, like when they're doing the final duel and Obi-Wan's cuts off Anakin's limbs, it's so dry the way the guy like narrates it. He's like, "You were my brother, Anakin," and it's just
It's like,
it's-
oh, yeah.
it's
One final. I'll put this out into the universe as one final thing about for Ross MGF Customs. I tried listening to the Plagueis audiobook, fell asleep. Read the book,
I did
loved it,
too.
but
Yeah.
I
I did
cannot
too.
do audiobooks. I was like, Darth Plagueis walked through the rocks. I was like,
No,
I
let me
imagine.
tell you,
I couldn't. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it, man.
I
he-
imagine
he
when you
made me
hear
listen
Obi-Wan
to
going
that.
for this.
I tried as well.
He made me listen to an hour of that with him, and I told him, I'm like, dude, listen, I can't take another second of Plagueis walking to a bank. Like
Yeah.
I can't do it. So, and I do agree. I think sometimes audiobooks, like, because it's not at your own pace, right? You have to
Yeah.
listen to their
Yeah.
pace. It can throw things.
Well,
off.
you can change the.
That's
speed
true.
of
You
it,
can make
right?
him talk faster. You did recommend.
Yeah.
But I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier.
I can't.
Yeah, no, I same with me with the Plagueis audiobook. That's like the one I've like really tried to like sit down and like listen to and read and
Couldn't do
couldn't
it.
do it.
Well, this is
Do it.
yeah. So this is an interview after all, a little eensy weensy bits of an interview. So we are gonna ask him some questions. But before we get into that, it's time for some unbridled
Some
just
his-
compliments, some praise, some history.
A history
So,
lesson, if you will.
I think, especially if you've watched our 1 year anniversary podcast, we talked about
Yeah,
you guys in that a lot because I think it's safe to say that the Convor call and its previous iterations, and Corey, Aubree, you guys were a big inspiration for our channel. I mean, Johnny, I think
Absolutely.
you guys started your All New Nerds the same like week as the Ahsoka episode.
so Dylan and I
And-
started
Yeah.
and for the we did a podcast on the second episode of Mando season 2, and so that was big, and so then I was already kind of in your guys' space in the chat and stuff. Yeah, and then Levi and I would
come
talk,
on,
and
yeah.
and it was a
We would interact in the chat, not knowing. And then I think
interact in the
it was-
chat, not knowing.
Yeah, and then chapter 13, I think, when you guys started bringing people on the round
Yep.
tables after the fact.
Yeah.
That was Johnny came on, and like that was the first time that I saw Johnny.
Sweating and freaking out for some
Yeah,
reason.
we were watching it earlier.
That
He's
was-
like, oh,
that
the
was my
lights all
first,
blasted.
yeah.
It's like, ah.
Yeah, I was this
That was my
silent
first time.
observer of all that, but
Yeah,
you were
That's
off to the
great
side.
stuff.
You know?
yeah,
You're like,
but
and then,
yeah.
and then later, chapter 16, the tragedy, that Boba Fett episode, I come on, and that's when people who were watching then still watch our channel now that we interacted
That's
with in
cool.
those chats, and like that is just such a cool
Mhm.
thing that
Yeah.
moment, like Johnny and I started interacting with each other. We saw each other. We're talking to people. Brent, especially Brent Age of Groger, he's been with us every
Aw,
step of the
that's
way.
Yeah.
For
That's
everyone, like what an amazing guy. He's like the
Shout out to
number
Brent.
one. He's
So
like the
nice.
number one hype man fan. It's just friend you can have. He's always
Yeah.
just such a good
He's
guy.
great.
And then the meeting the HoloNet Marauders. Like I remember
Yep.
when that Black Chrysanthemum scoop happened. We're talking about being a book of Boba Fett,
Mhm.
and you
Yep.
guys were like, "What's the source?" And I remember typing into the chat HoloNet Marauders, and not even knowing that I would like be in these people's houses like a year later. Like
Yeah.
I met these people.
Well,
I've been to their house.
yeah.
Like it's such a
Aw.
crazy
That's
thing.
funny.
Like that community
That
that
works.
was created in that
That works,
Mando
man.
time was
That's
just so
cool.
positive. And then now like here we
Yeah.
are. That inspired me talking out, sharing my opinion
Yeah.
out there on the internet for the first time. Here we
Yeah.
are. And I think
So
that's-
without you guys, I
a
don't
cool thing.
think this channel would be in the state that it's in.
Well,
That's
I'd say
Yeah.
if I had to point to a main
It's all-
inspiration,
all
it would
to you
definitely
guys.
be like Kessel Run Transmission and just that era really of like
Mhm.
consuming content and stuff. So we thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Oh well, I'm glad that it's. I've heard this a couple of times recently from a couple different people, so that's been really cool to see that like Noah and I just randomly like deciding to do something on YouTube has like helped a lot of people because it was very much him and I
Yeah.
just we I remember when we put together the name Kessel Run Transmissions, we were just like on the way to a restaurant on an Uber, and he was like, his channel's called Kessel Run Radio. Mine was First Order Transmissions, and I was like, what if we merged that? We just were like Kessel Run Transmissions, and that's how that started. And then, I think for Mandalorian is when we started really, we started with Clone Wars, and then we did Mandalorian, and that's when we both noticed that there was a lot of traction going on, and we saw a lot of people commenting, and like Levi, for example, was commenting, and like we had regular people we would talk to. So yeah, that was a really fun time. It was the Mandalorian era was so fun for season 2 to just like stay up late and do the reactions and do the bringing people onto it. Yeah, well, I'm really glad that it like helped propel you guys to do this, because that's
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really did. Yeah.
awesome.
I think that's a good segue to a good first question here. Was, as you mentioned, you, especially Corey, have an extremely long history on YouTube of making content between the
Yeah.
Wolfpack podcast, First Order
Yeah,
Transmissions, Kessel
somehow.
Run, and now, and like if you go back through your the video history, you have interviews with Dave Filoni on a phone,
Yeah, it's
Ashley
a funny
Eckstein,
story.
Sam Witwer. Like, what made you start making that content, and then
Yeah.
how did you eventually, you were there, 2013, 2014, you must have been pretty young doing that, and you were talking to Dave Filoni, which is like,
You're
now
the MVP for asking
crazy.
that question. Like, no one else
How's
on
that?
any podcast has ever asked me that, so that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just like I had another YouTube channel that I just reviewed like a lot of figures on.
Star Wars Embo
Oh,
98.
great.
Write that down.
Go, everyone, go check it out right now. link in description.
And then I was like, I think I want to like do like live streams and stuff. So yeah, for the Wolfpack podcast, I started doing live streams. And just one day I was like, you know what? Let me email Lucasfilm publicity just for fun and ask about
See
like
what
Clone Wars
happens.
interviews. So I did that, and then they got back to me the same day and were like, yeah, well, Dave Filoni's
Wow.
available on this day. And I was like,
Wow.
what? And it was crazy because like Dave didn't do interviews. He only did one other podcast and didn't do like anyone else. So it was funny when I
there's
got
not
him
a
on
lot
the
of
phone that day.
podcasts with him.
Yeah, when I did that
Yeah.
interview with him, my Wi-Fi went out. the minute he
man.
got
Oh
on.
man.
And I was like, Dave, I'm so sorry. And so it was funny because he was like, oh, it's totally fine. This happens in the studio all the time. So I'm fixing the router. It's just me and Dave for 10 minutes just talking on the phone as I'm doing it. And he's just like, so how's your day going? I was like, well, it's good. And so we're just like talking about just whatever and like life. for a
Casual
bit.
conversation with Dave Filoni.
Yeah, it was
Friend of the
so,
show, Dave Filoni.
It's so
Friend
funny.
of the
So
show.
every time I see him, he just points to me and go, Wolfpack. It's quite funny. But yeah, it was cool I will say like Lucasfilm was a lot more laxed with being able to do fan interviews
Back then.
before Force Awakens. I think after Force Awakens, Disney sort of limited who would get access to press stuff. And I think that's what happens is when any big company buys out another company, there's going to be big changes. I
Right.
think when Lucasfilm was more sort of independent, it was easier for them to give fans access to stuff like that. That's
They
completely
were very,
changed.
very involved in the fan community.
Very,
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah. So I kind of hit it at the time where, like, the perfect time for me, where I could do all that. Because I know if I tried now, it would be like,
I can't even imagine doing that today.
yeah,
Like,
it's just like
emailing Lucasfilm, getting back the same day.
they wouldn't
That's
even
crazy.
reply to anyone at this point.
Yeah, no
How
way.
big was your channel when you emailed them?
It wasn't even that big. It was like maybe 900 subscribers at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
that's
insane.
not. It's like in terms of like small creators, that's not too little, but it was also
Right. To get on Lucasfilm's radar, like
Yeah, I thought that was strange.
You said
Um,
you did say whenever Dave sees me, he says Wolfpack. Do you
He
see
does.
Dave often? Do you see Dave? Do you running around? You seen Dave?
When was the last time you saw your Dave?
I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Well, there you
he's
go.
right here.
Yeah. And joy special guest Dave Filoni joining us right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's their producer, the Convor call. He's
Yeah.
editing our videos. He's playing
He's a,
the
he's,
camera
a,
right
he's a
now.
friend of the show, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah, I'm mutual friends with
mutual
it.
friends with Dave Filoni. And you say that about Lucasfilm. I think hopefully we're starting to see some of that stuff come back with like the 501st getting involved in a lot of productions, and then especially don't want to take it back too much, but like the High Republic authors are constantly interacting with people on social media, and like I've been
Yeah,
in a couple of like
cool.
Zoom calls with them just because
Yeah.
they have like these open Zoom calls where they bring people in, and like that's really cool. Like that stuff is there, but hopefully that era of Lucasfilm will start to come back. But yeah,
I think it will. I think because we're sort of out of the movie phase of things now. I think especially for the comics and books, like you said, they want that fan interaction because that's what it's tailored for, right? Like the books and comics are for strictly really for the fans because most general public people might not care enough. Whereas like I think for the shows, I think the way they see it is like, for example, like even our channel, it's like why choose us when they can do like Entertainment Tonight or like
Yeah,
any
exactly,
of the
Variety
or
or-
any of the
yeah.
other ones. You just have to really beg at this point. with
Yeah.
this one, so
And
Um,
like even just that industry is like a lot of networking and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard to network as a small YouTube channel when again like people like Variety or whatever are networking with these people. But
yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
it's like I think the last like voice actor I ever had on the show was I don't remember. I don't like it's the it was a while ago.
You
But
guys have gotten the Kiners relatively recently.
oh yeah, those are
Yeah,
the
they're
homies
so
though.
sweet.
Yeah.
The Kiners
they're the
just
best.
like I think the Kiners are my favorite guests we've ever had on our show. They're just like the most supportive, like kind-hearted people.
Even like after the stream we'll be talking to them and like
They're
telling
so
them about
cool.
what we're up to and they're like, oh my goodness, that's so great.
Yeah, they're so
Yeah, yeah.
Like cheering us
Yeah,
on so
yeah,
sweet.
they're really cool.
Well, just by like their Twitter and stuff, you can tell they're pretty big fans of what they're doing,
Oh,
you know, and
yeah.
like what they're doing it for. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty
yeah, they're
sweet.
great.
I hope I see the day when they get to compose something live action.
That's
I
what
really-
I told them last time.
Yeah.
I was like, I need you guys to
I'm
do
here
this
for that
like
too.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah,
just
I
so
mean,
good.
them and like Ludwig Göransson, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. They're kind of carrying Star Wars music right now, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love the Kiners to do like Kenobi or Ahsoka or
Something
something
yeah.
like
Well, I
that.
mean,
That'd
their
be cool.
theme was kind of in Mando, you know. I mean,
Love
Ludwig
it.
did
Right.
their theme, so that was pretty
Mhm.
emotional to hear that.
And
Okay,
if
so-
you listen in the last episode, there's little homages to Omega's theme.
Yeah, on the in the train, yeah.
Mhm.
People
So
have been
we've
pointing out-
heard. So we've
Jamie,
heard.
yeah, Jamie from All Night Marauders is really big into that Omega. The
I'll
Omega
believe it
theme.
when I see it.
Yeah. So shifting gears a little bit, we were talking about the history there. This is for both of you, and we would both love an answer. But what was your first, or alternatively favorite Star Wars memory or experience?
Wow.
Like, go deep. Dig deep.
I can't talk too
Go
much.
deep.
Okay, then go first. If you can't talk about your favorite, go. Then go. What was
I'll
your
go
first
with my
memory then?
first one. One of my very first Star Wars memories. Well, I have a few, but I grew up with my family, and they were big. They were big Star Wars fans. Like,
Oh, okay.
my dad
Ready?
specifically, he was a big Star Wars fan growing up, and for his family as well, they were all really into Star Wars. So his family would take him out of school whenever it would premiere, and they would go midday to go watch the original trilogy. And so because of that, that was very much like his basis for like a lot of the entertainment that he liked, and he ended up going to VFX and working with ILM and stuff. And
God,
so
awesome.
because of that, I was very, very like attentive when it came to Star Wars and a bunch of technology and stuff. So growing up, I remember my dad like pointing out like, oh yeah, like in Phantom Menace when all the new pilots are running to their ships, he was like, oh yeah, so that's my friend that I went to grad school here, and that's my other friend, and right there, because they were all ILM artists that like were making cameos. So that was one of my very first Star Wars memories, like sitting there and seeing these people that were my dad's friends. And then that like evolved into like even just watching Revenge of the Sith for the first time in kindergarten and stuff like that. And so I've never known a time without Star Wars. And because of that, it's so important to me, not only just personally, but in a lot of my relationships as well. So.
That's so cool. I had no idea about that. Your family and your dad. That's such an awesome history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
That's
lot of-
definitely
That
a
is
unique one.
Yeah, a lot of his technology is actually used on the volume, so it's
Oh,
fun
wow.
to like talk to him about that or watch the Mando Gallery stuff, and to like he'll pause and point out certain things and be like, oh yeah, this camera does this and this camera does this. So it's really fun. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Corey, what about you? Can you match that?
yeah, I know, man.
Did your dad work at ILM?
I probably could match that, but I can't today. Yeah.
Not
so,
today. Not today.
I'm trying to think of a cooler moment.
Maybe Dave Filoni, that's so great.
Just lie.
Yeah,
Just flat out
Filoni.
lie.
Yeah, me and Dave Filoni is very cool. Okay, so this is more of a sappy one, I guess, if you will. Well, I guess in terms of a moment I can really determine, and it's really just building a relationship. Really, is like that Aubree and I met through Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's always going to be what, like when I think about Star Wars, that's what matters the most to me, is that we met through it.
Aw.
But that aside, my favorite memory. Dang, man, that's a big one. I actually do think I had an opportunity to talk with Dave Filoni kind of one-on-one a couple years ago, just about Clone Wars and everything. And it was a celebration like VIP thing that I was able to get into. And I actually have the video on our channel of that meet and greet because it's just so fun. And it was just like kind of surreal to sit there and like hear him talking about Clone Wars and talking about Rebels coming up. And oh no, Rebels had already come out, so I think they had just revealed Ahsoka and Rebels, and I was just like, that's the most insane thing ever, and he was just so hyped about it. And then I think like just
that was
terms of-
crazy.
oh yeah, one of the most craziest moments.
Is that
I
when you
think.
got that poster?
Yeah, it was like a Dave Filoni like art print that has like Ahsoka and Rex riding a wolf on it, and
Yeah.
everyone
Whoa,
like thought that
that's
was
cool.
from Mando season 2, which definitely was not. But that was a really cool moment, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna have to say that for now. Yeah.
That's a
Sorry,
good one.
my
I
dad
mean,
doesn't work at ILM. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is a moment. So I
moment.
yeah, that's certainly a
anxious
good
to
one.
meet. I have not met Dave Filoni, and I
No.
would say so many things to that man. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, because
Yeah.
for us, we're a little bit younger than you guys. Because we were old
Yeah.
enough. At least I was old enough for Revenge of the Sith, but I didn't go to see it in
Yeah.
theaters because it was PG-13. So the first Star Wars movie I saw in a theater was The Clone Wars.
Same.
The
And
Clone Wars movie. Yeah,
and like
was
that
mine
Clone
too.
Wars movie,
too.
like, Dave, you did that, man. Even he did that, and it's like that's
That
That was
yeah,
crazy.
that was my first.
Yeah, that's some of my
Star Wars
first
movie.
exposure to Star Wars. So I gotta give a lot of props to him.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not see Revenge of the Sith in
Absolutely.
theaters because I
Absolutely.
hadn't seen Star Wars yet.
so
I
you're a
saw
fake fan. I see.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I didn't start till 2006, which was like
Yeah.
right after. The Clone Wars movie was my first. That's actually probably a pretty strong memory for me in terms of Star Wars. Like, that was huge because it was like seeing a Star Wars movie in the theater for the first time, even if it was just Clone Wars. Like, it was. That's why I love that movie so much. When people dog on it, I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm totally with you there, man. Here's a super deep cut, and this is for Dylan. I want to bring you in here too. So Dave Filoni, as some of you may know, he directed like part of the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and
Yeah.
in that show,
Yeah.
there's an episode about the last air temple, and in it, the Fire Nation tanks like climb up the last air temple on the side,
Yep.
and in
Yep.
Clone
Mhm.
Wars, the ATTEs climb up to the Teth Monastery in
Climb
the
up the
same
wall.
way. And I
Yeah.
want to ask him, I'm like, did you do that on purpose? Is that did you,
Yeah,
is that
right.
you, man? Like you directed the same thing the same way in Avatar. And I'm like, I don't know. This guy. I just want to know
It's
if
close.
he did
It's
that
close.
subconsciously. Like I don't know. It's just a weird.
It's very similar.
yeah.
Because I remember seeing that
Yeah.
episode as a kid, being like, "Whoa, Avatar," and then be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, he's the clip from this from Avatar," like in the theater, and like, "Whoa, it's cool."
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Well, even watching Avatar now, because I'm also a big Lord of the Rings fan in regards to the lore there. Watching Avatar now and watching Clone Wars, like, and having heard him talk about his Lord of the Rings inspirations, a lot of things I'll be like, oh my goodness, I know exactly what he's doing here and here. And so rewatching pieces of Avatar is the same thing where I'll be like, oh, this is so Lord of the Rings, it's ridiculous. So it's like super fun to see all those homages, and even then how it's kind of cyclical where then he starts putting Avatar into Star Wars. That's
Yeah,
been super fun.
Yeah, with Appa and
Yeah.
stuff like that. The arrow.
Mhm.
I would ask too
Absolutely.
about because you guys talked to the Kiners in that Clone Wars movie and season 1 in general. The music is nuts. It's like guitar riffs and
Oh, yeah.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
wow! It's like whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, Star Wars. It's
Totally
crazy.
different. Yeah.
Mhm.
Kind of transitioning kind of over to more about your channel. So obviously I would say the channel has gone through a lot of evolutionary states with different names and stuff like that as
Yeah.
as we know there's quite a history.
Yeah.
So one question is, how has Convor Call, what you guys are doing now, differentiated from your previous content?
Yeah, oh, that's a great question. I think Aubree and I have talked about this a lot, but one thing that I finally I think we've finally been able to do, and this is something I want to do for a long time, is just make it fun. Like, just
Yeah.
make it something where I'm not trying to look at it as like a job or trying to look at it as like even doing like scoops and all that. I wanted it to be something where we could literally just like share this experience together and have fun with it. That's why like we're even pretty, like lax with posting content, because
Mhm.
we don't do it every week. It was before Boba Fett. It's just something where like we'll do it for all the new content coming out, and then we'll sort of see where we go from there. But yeah, it's just really about having fun. And
Yeah, we want to have fun. We want to then also let other people have fun with us. We want to like spread that joy. So it's been really cool to have some really like close, nice friends on the channel. We're not like picking the, I don't know, creator of the week, like all new people. We just want it like just for it to be like this intimate, fun experience where
Yeah.
they're like all close friends.
yeah, I
So
think
it's been super fun.
I also like there was previous iterations of the channel where I felt too stressed out and too weighed down by maybe negativity or something that I just didn't, that I just think that everything should, when you're doing something like YouTube, right? Especially if you're trying to do it for a job, it's so hard to do it as a job. So you don't want to
Yeah.
be weighed down by any sort of like and that's I'm not even just talking about like the channel itself, but even when you're connected to Reddit or you're connected to like Twitter a lot. I think Twitter sort of is the bane of my existence.
Would
but
you
I
say?
still
Would you
use
say?
it.
Would you say it's a vibe check?
It's a vibe check?
It
Yeah,
is
It's
there
a
you
very
go.
vibe
major.
check.
It's a major vibe check.
Yeah,
I do not go on Twitter. Twitter is
I
not
need a good
my-
walk
not
after
my
Twitter.
thing.
I'll say
That's
it.
smart.
it's-
Not my thing. Never has been. I don't think it
But
ever will be. But
I definitely think I took something away from each iteration of it and had fun with each of each different version of it.
Right.
Yeah, so like there's great moments from all of it. I just think for me personally, I was like at a point where there was other responsibilities I had to do, and I wanted to just like not have to worry about thinking about it like a job.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yeah, and
that
it's been so fun just do this. We've talked about like collecting, as you can see all over here. We're
Yeah.
able to like bring on fun friends, like our friend Rory, who is the Tuscan actor, and
Well, I
Book of
think-
Boba.
Which we were gonna
That's
ask
super
about.
weird.
Yes.
Gonna ask about it. Yeah.
We were gonna ask.
Yeah.
About that,
That's super important too, is it's like you always want to have an environment where people are supportive of each other
Mhm.
and people are willing to be supportive of new people or whatever. And I think that's so important. Like, and that's why I love what you guys are doing. It seems like you guys have a really positive show and a really great friendship. And I think that's awesome. And I think that that's very important to have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and just continue that vibe, because you guys will go places when you're working as a team that respects each other, for sure.
I think
Yeah.
something that's always kind of seems to be deep rooted into what you guys have done is like a real sense of community. Like whenever I think of like what you're doing, like Convor Call or Kessel Run or whatever, it's always more of a community hub, I guess, or always felt like that than just like a YouTube channel. So I think that's great. And I mean,
Yeah,
that's
appreciate
definitely been one of the biggest inspirations for us.
Definitely
and I
something we
imagine a
strive
lot of
for.
other people.
Yeah, that's what I love about it the most, is it's like you want anyone who's watching, like you want everyone to feel like you're a part of the same community versus
Yeah.
like, oh, here are these YouTubers and they're like what do you call it? Like, I don't like calling our viewers fans, because
No. Yeah.
they're our friends.
We
and
will.
people
We will
watch-
never. Yeah. We will never. say
Yeah.
that as well.
And
Yeah,
like maybe
no,
like
that's not-
fans, like we're all Star Wars.
Sure,
fans,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
Or
also
yeah.
that
We're.
we don't want to be a part of like necessarily like the Star Wars fan community.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Instead, and we don't want our channel
Hey,
to be
we're literally with you there. So
We have
Yeah.
some stories about that
Yeah.
one.
we
can talk
tried
about that.
and failed.
We can talk about that after the show. Okay.
We
But
tried
yeah,
and failed.
Instead, we want it to be like the Convor Call community. We want it to
Yeah.
be its own like place where we can have fun, and it's very unaffected by everything else, and it's just like positive and great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you
for
guys
sure.
are doing great because it's been great. So I would
Oh,
say.
appreciate
thank you.
that.
Yeah,
you guys
we've
are,
had so
guys are
much
killing
fun.
it.
But
So.
speaking of Rory, how do you guys know Rory? I've seen a lot of
Yes,
photos.
yeah.
of,
This was
you
this
know,
is one of my questions, but yeah, I guess
Corey and Rory that are like, oh, you guys, like, how did you guys know each other?
yeah.
Cool
That's,
Rory and I met at a Comic-Con like a few years
Oh.
back, and
Wow.
one day he just texted me and said, "Hey, I'm working on this cool project," and it was Star Wars, and I was like, What? And so obviously, like, I didn't actually find out it was Star Wars until the Book of Boba Fett came out. I just knew he was working on a lot of cool things, and it was closer to Book of Boba when he announced on Instagram that he was in it, and I wrote him immediately, and I was like, wait, what?
That's the perk of being in Southern California. Like, you know, people who just end up in things. So, like,
Yeah.
I know someone's like boyfriend who is in Book of Boba. And
Yeah.
just like stuff like that where you're like, oh, okay, that's
Well,
weird
and
and
it's
random.
so
Yeah,
funny,
that's
too.
okay. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, like, I never would have suspected he was in Star Wars, and then he just, like, when he posted on Instagram, like, oh yeah, I'm just in the Book of Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Just casually. Just-
Yeah, I
Wait,
was
what?
like,
Yeah.
dude, what?
Definitely,
Super
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, but
definitely,
he's-
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just, if you haven't already, just go check out those streams with Rory in them on
Yeah.
Convor because they are so
They're
funny and
awesome.
interesting. And the stories he
Mm.
tells, like my favorite one, to give you a tease, is when Jon Favreau came over to him and told him to stop being such a tough guy for not taking off the mask. Like that is such a funny story.
Oh,
Like
that's great.
it's like you gotta just check out that stuff because it is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It is
And then
great.
we're gonna have him on, I think, every week.
Every week,
after,
yeah.
Because not only
He
is
also
a
announced
Tusken
he
actor-
was in Kenobi too.
He did,
which
Yeah.
is
Wow.
Oh man,
Cool.
I didn't know that.
yeah,
And
he
you know
was on
what's
our stream, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm also in Kenobi," which I did not know, and I was like,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
but like it's fun to have him on because he's not just an actor in it. He's also a big Star Wars fan, so it's fun
Yeah.
to hear him predict what he thinks will happen in Book of Boba, like the stuff that he doesn't know. So it's been really neat. Yeah,
It's so
just
cool that like the fans are like working now. They are the ones who are like
Mm.
working on all the Star
working
Wars
on
stuff.
it. Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
it's so
Right.
cool. It's so
It
cool.
is really cool. Yeah,
It's really funny you say that about the Rory saying he was on Kenobi because you guys got out of the leak game, but that announcement actually spun a whole like sub rumor on Reddit. So basically, when he said that, basically people were like, "Oh, does that mean he's playing the stormtrooper that's in the Sarlacc pit, and then we'll see that stormtrooper fall into the Sarlacc pit?" in Kenobi?" That was legitimately a thread that
In
started happening
Kenobi?
because they were like, "Oh, well, the guy who's playing the stormtrooper, he's in both of them," and it was
That
like,
would
"Oh."
be
It was
quite
Must
a
be.
quite a
That's
connection.
hilarious.
That would be
just so
quite a
funny that
connection.
they're like, "Oh, this
I
must
love
be what
that.
that
Oh,
means."
Reddit.
Yeah,
Reddit,
it was-
Oh,
Reddit
yeah,
never
Reddit.
fails us. I love
Sometimes
that.
I miss Reddit.
Sometimes I miss Reddit.
Yeah.
Sometimes with home.
That's
Big
fine.
sometimes.
Yeah. They were total homies when they're homies, but when they're mean, they're mean. Then you
Yeah.
stay away.
The
credibility is
internet's a
I
dangerous
understand that.
place.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
yeah, and it's
Um,
so cool that he's in Kenobi. I think
Yes, it is very cool. That is
Good.
awesome.
He knows the things. He knows what's up.
He does. Yeah.
He can't talk
Yeah.
about it.
Um,
Think about this. He was probably within a good proximity of either Ewan McGregor or Hayden Christensen in
that's true.
within like a
That's-
year of now. Like,
I
Really
actually,
think
I'm
about
gonna
that.
I'm gonna
Think
flex a
about
little
that.
bit. I met Hayden Christensen in October.
Okay. Okay. Flex. All right.
Ooh.
All right.
That's a
All
good
right. Flex
flex.
about it.
That's a good
Okay.
flex.
At
Good
New
flex.
York Comic Con, a little bit of a flex. Yeah,
All right.
it
Yeah.
was awesome
Oh my
though.
goodness.
Literally like chills, but yeah, it was awesome. It was a very nice
Aw.
guy. It was brief. It was at a Comic Con, but it was brief. But it
He
was cool.
seems cool.
Yeah, he
seems
seems
cool.
really, really
I met
cool.
him at Celebration, Florida.
2019.
No.
Oh, in Chicago. Oh, so I did Florida
Yeah.
when he was in Florida and when he was in Chicago. I met him both
Was
times.
he in Florida?
That was his first one. Dude's just a stand-up guy. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I had to like ask him the stupid nerdy question. And I was just like, "So have you seen Clone Wars or?"
No, well,
What did he say? Actually, what did he say? What
He
did
said a few episodes.
Okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
well,
Okay.
there was
Alright.
also a point. This is like total dorky Corey story, and I'm gonna out him on this one. You said you got the Last Jedi
Oh
poster
yeah,
in Florida,
it did.
and then he was doing signings. So you brought your poster,
Yeah.
and you went up to Hayden and were like, "Oh my goodness, like you're totally in it, right?" And he just gave you a wink as he was signing the Last Jedi poster. So you walked away, you're like, "Oh my goodness, Hayden's gonna be in Last Jedi!"
Yeah, I totally like. Well, also Noah, something kind of funny. Noah, Outlaw. When we were at Celebration Chicago, we took a photo op with him. As we're walking away, he goes, "Can't wait to see you in Rise of Skywalker, man." And Hayden was like, "Okay." Yeah.
Yes.
And
I mean, you
That was
heard
a
him.
good. That was a
Hey,
good
he
Noah
was
impression.
close,
That
he
sounded-
was
that
close.
sounded
And
like Noah.
that's one of those things, maybe we start talking about some content here. Is people always like, "Oh, Hayden and Liam Neeson are never coming back. I'm like, they signed contracts with Disney to be in Rise of Skywalker. You think they don't know? And when Liam Neeson's like, I don't know what Star Wars is.
Yeah,
Like, he was in Episode 9. Like,
yeah, I don't know what
like,
Star.
they
Yeah,
didn't like drug him and put him in a broom closet. Like, say this about Rey. Like, he knows what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
It's always so
yeah.
crazy to me when people so like intertwine what's in Star Wars.
funny.
Like your story with Hayden Christensen asking about Clone Wars, and they don't know the lore almost like you expect them to.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's just certain stuff they're like, yeah, I have no
They
idea
could-
what you're talking about.
Well, a lot of that they can't talk about. Like you would
That
for the
too,
longest
yeah.
time. You know, he was like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Are people still interested in Star
Who's
Wars?
that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like he goes, oh yeah,
yeah.
I've been hiding that secret for 6 years.
I feel like
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield. He's
He-
just is starting to
Oh,
do interviews
poor
about
guy.
Spider-Man, and he's like, "Yeah, it was really hard to lie to everyone."
Yeah,
It would have been
I
funny.
bet.
It would have been funny if he just kept saying, "I'm not in the movie." Like,
That's
I
what
was
I'm
like,
saying.
like
I
even
wasn't
after it came out.
he was
Yeah.
in it.
I felt so bad for him because he was the only one that was like, I'm not in it. I'm not. He wouldn't post
Yeah.
anything about
No,
it.
because
but
he
then-
had this was last year was like his year. He had like 4 movies, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
like 4
when
movies.
he was
so-
quite literally caught in 4K. He was still.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
not
Yeah.
in it.
even
Andrew-
still,
Andrew-
even so,
Andrew Garfield podcast when right now. What? Okay.
Meanwhile, Tobey
Demo.
Maguire is
I
just,
would
like,
make one. I would do an
this-
Andrew Garfield podcast.
Oh god, those Tobey Maguire posts, they were so funny. Those were funny. Where like the guy ran into on the street in New York, and he just is like,
Yeah.
"He told me he's in the
Yo,
movie."
it's Spider Man.
Yeah, it's
Yo,
Spider-Man.
I was in New York when he was in New York, and I was so upset.
Aw.
He didn't
Well,
see him.
so-
That's a funny thing, you know. That made me think of you mentioning Celebration. Like I was also at Celebration 20.
Yeah, leave it.
and that's something I run into a lot with people we interact with, we collab with. It's like I probably like walked by you a couple times.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably.
Like I probably
We've
saw
had,
you.
we've
I
had
was-
that discussion multiple times.
I was
yeah.
there- ooh.
I haven't. Dylan and I haven't been, but
Here's
we
a
wanna
good
go.
here's a good question. Eventually, we'll collaborate with Star Wars Newsnet, and because I know the people on the Resistance broadcast were in the room, because I know that Lacey was there, because I remember her being there. But so it was on the day that was. I asked everyone who was there this question. It was on the day between I think it was
Oh,
the Jedi
God,
Fallen
this
Order
is the
panel.
question.
It was between the
I
Jedi
already
Fallen
know
Order
the
panel
question.
and the Mandalorian panel. And I wanted to save my seat in there. So when you're in there, that Mike, the DJ guy, like he tries to keep everyone
Yeah.
like interested, and so he's like around or whatever. And him and Warwick Davis are going around on like a Segway, and they're like asking people to do impressions of stuff. And eventually he gets around to me, and I just like violently cough into the mic. And he's like, what? And I was, oh, it's General Grievous. Everyone laughs. And I
I
was like,
remember that. I was.
you
in the
remember that?
thing.
You were there.
Finally,
That was
we've done
me.
it.
That was me.
Do you
I was
actually, Corey?
there.
Actually,
were
do you
there?
actually, Corey?
One of
'Cause
these-
I legitimately do, because I was with Noah when that happened, and we both commented on it when it happened.
That was
So
me.
Well,
That's so funny.
Levi, you can
What's it?
go be a
All right,
hermit,
so
go live in the
now
mountains
now
You've
I
done it.
believe you, Levi. I guess now I
It
believe you
was
after all
me.
this
I
time.
did this. I made everyone laugh. I was like, this is the greatest moment
That's
of my life.
hilarious.
Dream fulfilled. Now there's you got a witness.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah, yeah, because he would ask everybody, and they were like, I don't know.
They're
I
like,
don't
what are you
need
talking about? I was like, I swear I did it. People were there.
So
I
You're the
remember
first.
this,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Were you really there?
I totally
was-
remember this.
Well, that's like Celebration Anaheim. My friend Justice,
funny.
who did our Star Wars Stories episode on the StarWars.com channel. He and I have gone to like almost all the celebrations together, and we went to Anaheim, and he asked Dave if Barriss is going to show up at all in the Clone Wars or Rebels, or if she's dead. And Dave was like, oh yeah, like I have a plan for her. And then
Lord,
recently we were
Barriss.
talking to Corey, and Corey was like, I remember you asking that question.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that trips me up all the time is Aubree and I were always like in the same place at the
Around
same
each other.
time,
Yeah.
but never like knew it. So Celebration
Right.
Anaheim, Celebration Florida. You weren't in Chicago, but we were in like 3 different celebrations at the same place. We just never met until like 2020. So
Yeah, super
it's-
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
crazy.
met through the Kessler Run channel because
Yeah,
I was
here-
a fan like you guys, and
Yeah.
I started around when you guys started. It's been super fun to
Yeah.
like be
Yeah.
on this journey with you guys on the Holonet
I
Matters.
do see.
and Rent.
I do always forget that you were like watching the channel.
Yeah,
And that, yeah.
I
was
think I
so
remember,
fun.
Aubree, your first, it was when I was still modding for the chat, and it was the first Mando gallery for season 2. It was like Christmas
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
And,
Dang,
and you were on it, and I was like,
Yeah.
there's something going on here. And then here we are. That is so. I
Yeah.
can't get over that. You remember the Grievous thing because I
I
literally
totally remember the Grievous
I
thing,
say that
yeah.
I don't know if I believe it. It's
That's-
true. I say that to
I-
everyone, and everyone's like,
No,
what are you saying
I'll
to
tell
me?
you
You
why.
should text Noah right now.
I will. Yeah, I'll tell you why I remember it. Is it was because the entire day we had to sit in the panel
Sit in that room, yeah. 'cause
Right.
it's
Right.
all day.
And I remember being bored out of my mind for like half the time. So I'm not bored out of my mind, but I was semi-bored.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
because
there's a waiting period. Yeah.
Bored in
waiting
your
period.
mind.
And I would pay attention to like the audience members who would get the mic. And I remember the Grievous one because it was good, don't get me wrong. But I remember it being very loud and just be like, wow.
Yeah, I just like coughed so
That
hard.
guy sucks. Yeah,
It was,
that's
yeah,
yeah,
it was like it was
That guy is
strange, but, like
annoying.
I got what you were trying to do.
Oh yeah, I was just
Wouldn't
trying
want
to
that guy
everyone was-
moderating my
'cause
streams.
Yeah, because everyone was doing like actual impressions. I was like, I just gotta like cough or do something wacky because everyone is so bored. And
Yeah, no, I appreciated that. So I might even
There you
have that recorded. I'll look back and see
if
my.
you if you have that
have that.
If
recorded,
you have it recorded,
that's nuts.
please send it to us.
I will
talk
look
about it.
back at my celebration footage
Please.
that I shot because wasn't this right before? Was this before Fallen Order? Or was this before that Alan Tudyk panel?
It was on. No, I think it was before Fallen Order because I remember I was there with my mom, and my mom stayed through the Alan Tudyk panel while I was out on the floor. Like we were like alternating shifts, so to
Yeah.
speak. And I think I was there for the whatever panel that
Okay,
was there.
yeah, that's like
So-
perfect. Yeah. I'm gonna look. I'm trying.
That's
to
so
find
that's
it.
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Finally fulfilled.
The off
I,
chance
I,
you have
I-
that, that'd be
I can
pretty-
retire now, and the fact that it was you who like you remember like that's so funny.
We've had no one to verify
insane.
this.
Yeah, no
I've
one
just
to
thought
verify
Levi was
It's
crazy
insane.
for these past whatever months.
I'll look into the footage for
And
sure.
look in the,
Yeah.
look into the files.
Take a
Well, I
look,
mean,
yeah.
you know, we've been going for a second here, so I think we should start talking about, you know, while we got you, just some general Star Wars content. I mean,
Mm.
Yeah.
like Book of Boba Fett is going
Got
on
some
right now. There is a
stuff.
Boba Fett show. What an
Yeah.
insane thing to say.
There's a
like,
Boba Fett show.
I mean, we've watched the reactions, but you
Yeah.
know, what's the vibe? I know Aubree, you've had a lot of positive connection to it, and
Yeah.
like,
Let me
it's
talk on it.
been good. What do you think?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Like, I am Navajo, and so because of that, like a lot of the little indigenous homages or even talk about indigenous people has been really, really cool to like hear about and see, especially on the screen, like seeing Boba talk about indigenous people and seeing them in their little community, and like especially like I am convinced that these Tuscans are specifically inspired by Navajo people because the Navajo are from the desert, and a lot of their art styles and the colors are very, very similar to like some Navajo art. But it's just been really cool to see that representation. I think on the Star Wars Underworld podcast, I talked a little bit more about it, but I did say it's like if you see a movie or a TV show and you see a little Star Wars reference, you're like, hey, that's cool. Like it's kind of like that, but more because you're like, oh my gosh, that's really cool, and it's a personal connection.
Right.
So it's been really fun to see that. I also have a lot of loved ones in the deaf community, who are deaf or hard of hearing, and so because of that, just seeing the signing too has been really cool. It's cool because it has a very similar structure to American Sign Language, which I'm fluent in. And so because of that, I can understand a lot of the signs.
Oh wow,
So
really?
just
That's cool.
yeah, so just seeing stuff like that has been amazing. So like it's stop like this in Tuscan, but stops like this in ASL. Just stuff like that.
Yeah, when we were watching Hawkeye, we paused it every 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, right.
This
Hawkeye
is not
too,
right.
yeah.
You're not doing it right.
Oh wait,
Wow, really?
does Hawkeye not right? They don't.
Hawkeye, well, specifically Hawkeye was signing terribly.
Oh, God.
Wow.
But Maya was signing well because she's deaf. But it's been interesting to like see that on screen, especially in Boba, especially since Star Wars means so much to me. I think that like it's awesome again to see a lot of fans also talking about the indigenous inspirations and talking about indigeneity in general. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun watching it. Of course, I love Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
So just seeing all of that together has been an
the
awesome blend.
perfect
Yeah,
blend, really.
I love
And
No,
it.
it's been great so far. So
It's
Yeah.
something you can't ignore in it too. Like it's not
Yeah.
like this is like a subtle theme going on. Like it's
Yeah.
the plot of
No,
the flashbacks, and that especially, I think everyone. I mean, there obviously has been some negativity around it, but for the most part, a lot of positivity around, especially like the ending sequence, and to see Boba, you know, inducted in that way and that dance that I'm sure that Tem had some part in choreographing. 'cause
Yeah, I
she
thought-
knows you know, the
Yeah, because
Haka.
I thought
Yeah.
he did that, and then especially when they were filming Mando, he incorporated a lot of that kind of style
The
into
Maori.
the
Yeah,
fight.
the
Yeah,
It's just
into the fight scene.
it's just all very cool, and it's like
Yeah.
it's so it's just heartwarming, especially to
Yeah.
see Tem in this role. It's super
Mhm.
cool. Corey, what
Yeah.
about you though? I mean,
Yeah, no, I've been loving it too. I think,
Yeah.
going into Book of Boba, I was like, it kind of crept up on us out of nowhere.
It did.
Yeah, I
But
was.
you gotta think about how much stuff has come out like in the last like couple
Yeah.
months. Like we had like Hawkeye, we had like No Way
Yeah.
Home.
Well, I think
we
I
have,
was
like,
in such a Marvel mode too.
Yeah,
I
that
was,
too.
like, it was like
That too.
hard to get
We
out
were-
of it,
we
especially
were as
after
well.
Spider-Man.
Mhm.
But then yeah,
I'm still not out of
loved-
Spider-Man. I'm still in it.
Johnny will
Yeah,
never
I'm
be out of
still- I'm
Spider-Man.
still
That's,
there
that's the
too, man.
secret.
I love that. I'm like
Yeah.
waiting for all the other Funkos to come out for No Way
Oh,
Home,
the
and,
Marvel
like,
Legends. Oh,
Marvel
you know,
Legends.
Corey.
I want the Toby
Oh,
Hot
man.
Toy. Anyway, sorry.
Oh man, you
want
gotta be
it.
excited, Corey.
Hype, bro.
I'm so hyped. Yeah.
But yeah, the Book of Boba Fett has really wowed me in the sense that like it definitely is not what I thought it would be, which is great.
Yeah.
Because initially I was like, yeah, I mean, is he just gonna be like going around and like shooting people and it's
A lot of
gonna be kind of just
explosions,
that,
yeah.
and that never really like, yeah. But no, it's got a lot of heart to it, and
Yeah.
I've liked both the present day and flashbacks. I love the flashbacks because I think it's cool to establish that Boba's a different character now. He's not who
Yeah.
he once was.
Yeah.
And that just makes me even more eager for the present day stuff, because I think one thing I appreciate about the show the most is they're focusing on character development, and that's
Yeah.
so many shows seem to like
Gloss over that a little bit.
gloss over
Well,
characters
even
and all
like
that.
Mando, like Mando's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't like look a lot into who Din Djarin is, and so
Right,
it's
he's
fun
just
to
kinda
see
there.
Boba. Like,
Yeah.
No,
picturing
definitely not as
that movie
deeply
is, like,
as
which
Boba
is
has.
which is
so.
something I think we were going to get in that Adam Christopher book that got canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was like going to be about his past with like that crew from season 1.
Mhm.
But anyway, I especially the character development thing has been the
Yeah.
biggest point of contention for some people who
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
well, this isn't what the character was to me. And I think it's really interesting, you know, all of us as Clone Wars fans, like if you, and to me, they're specifically invoking Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, like
For sure.
Mhm.
Kid Boba.
Yeah.
And if you've watched the
Ugh.
Clone Wars, Boba is not like the bad guy, like especially those
No.
deleted scenes. I always go back to this. Those deleted scenes, man. Cad Bane is the bad guy. He is the good
Yep.
guy. He is trying to save innocent people in that arc.
Yep.
Like Boba
Yep.
is good. And then like that's George. That's canon. That's like as canon as it can be. That's Dave and George. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's like, is the character? I feel like the character was always kind of this way. Like he definitely had
No,
a bad point, and then it led him to the Sarlacc, and he has that amazing like spiritual vision. But
Well, even
like this has always been in the character.
Even in Legends, he was a character who
Yeah.
was very honorable, and like
It's
Legacy of the
very-
Force. And...
Yeah, the
Well,
Mando.
Be a little bit too
like,
honorable.
Well, yeah.
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 You had to hear about Boba's opinions on a lot of weird things.
A lot of weird things.
Okay, so see that just shows how I haven't read those. This is
Yeah.
just what I've
Yeah,
been
I don't
told.
know about that
He's
either.
like,
so I don't-
Yeah.
oh, sex outside of marriage. It's like,
Yeah.
What?
It's,
Well, it's
yeah, that, like
actually-
I
unironically.
wonder if they'll bring that into Book of
It
Boba
makes
Fett.
sense in like in the
Yeah, in the
EU,
context, it's like-
especially
Yeah.
because at that time they were basing a lot of the Mandalorian clans off of the Scottish clans and their fight with the English back in like was it like the 1700s. So a lot of it is actually like if you think of the Scots
Yeah.
back then, they were very very staunch Catholics and they had this code, this very Catholic code, and so because of that, it's cool to see how that kind of translated like historically to
And
like
then-
the Mandoa people, and where they also have these very very like staunch views on things that are supposed to mirror the Scots. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I always thought that was neat as like a
And
history
then-
nerd.
poor Karen Travis. All that got retconned, and she got mad and quit.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, it's still cool. That stuff is still cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mandos now are definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I have not been bothered by the character study of Boba, or whatever you want to call it.
Not at all.
I
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
me
think I
neither.
don't really like. I feel like I mean, I haven't really read too many of the books and the comics specifically on Boba, so I mean, like, I think there's always like, and the best way I knew him was from Clone Wars, and I don't think it's been any different. I think there's definitely a natural progression. I don't think it feels like it's like a whole different character.
Yeah,
So,
no,
Yeah,
the character
no, I
makes a
agree.
lot of sense to me. Like I
Yeah.
feel like the way he acts all works perfectly, and I think we're gonna see more of his transformation with the
Yeah.
Tuscans as we get more episodes and stuff.
there's definitely more to see.
I have such a theory that I think a lot of people are thinking. I don't think those Tuscans are.
No,
gonna
yeah,
survive.
I was just about to say, yeah, Brett
No,
was
me neither.
bringing up on our
I
stream the
could
other day.
see that, or I could see them surviving, or like still something bad happening to them. But at the very end of the series, Boba
They gotta
is
come
coming
back,
to
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I love the theory that Bib Fortuna is the one who like does something to them, and that's why Boba just literally.
Yes.
blows
That's
up.
what, that's
Ah.
what Brent said.
Give me more Bib.
Yeah,
I'm
we-
a huge Bib guy.
Brent.
I'm looking for some Bib stuff because there was a theory thrown around, kind of. I mean, this is not the first time I've heard this one, but like that, everything that happened in Return of the Jedi was like an inside job, and it was
This
all
is
by Bib,
Brent is so hard on
orchestrated by
Twitter
Bib, and
that,
so
that Bib sabotaged Boba's jetpack, and so that's
Yeah.
why it goes off the way it does.
so that's
And then he crawls out
why
and
he
is like,
goes
I
after.
gotta kill Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
That was
Gonna
the
kill
first theory.
Fortuna. Yeah. So we could see something with Bib. I don't know.
Both
I think
episodes
the-
have mentioned Bib at least, so
Yeah.
we're on the right path.
I mean, after the episode we just saw, you just got to think what pushes him out of it, because
Right.
in Mando he is back hunting. Like he in that episode, clearly, I'm breaking the chain. I'm giving up being a bounty hunter. I don't want the armor.
Yeah.
But he's seeking it again. All those
He
years
goes
later.
back,
So
yeah.
something has to. Is it finding Fennec in the sand? Does Fennec
Right.
tell him something? Is it like, does something happen to the Tuskens? The Tusken kid, which I think that Tusken kid might be one of the future characters, like Sophie
I
Thatcher's
do
character
too.
or something.
I think
like,
it's Sophie Thatcher's character.
like there's got to
Oh.
be.
Pretty sure.
I think there
Yeah.
could be some like connection there. Either that or the kid is dying, which would be very sad.
be.
Yeah.
Could be.
But something's got to happen because it's got to push Boba out into the world, and like I want to rule Tatooine, and I don't know.
What do you
it
think about that one? I saw you pondering.
Well, it's interesting. I'm just trying to think of the age because we don't
Yeah,
really know
'cause
how old that
it's-
kid could be.
Probably
Right.
10 at best,
That's
and then
true.
well, no, it's probably the timeline probably doesn't work
Sophie
that well.
Thatcher.
She's
I
like
mean,
22.
I guess
right?
it would make sense because she's so pale and on Tatooine.
Yeah. How old is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
She, 'cause
The
she
actor-
looks like in her 20s.
She's in her young 20s.
Yeah, young.
I mean, they
teens,
could-
maybe late teens.
Isn't Ray supposed to be
I
like?
think they could pull it off.
Ray's
with,
supposed to be
you know,
19, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
What?
Daisy Ridley was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Daisy
That's
Ridley was.
weird.
I think Daisy Ridley was 21, and Sophie Thatcher is 21.
Oh, so it could work.
Yeah.
You would have to make the kid- I don't know. We'll
Age in
see.
Star Wars
Yeah.
is a weird thing. Like when you
Yeah.
think about the actor's age, because I remember being a kid watching Phantom Menace, going, "Look at these adults," and I watch it now. I'm like, Natalie Portman is like 14 in this movie.
Yeah.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
She is very
No,
young.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and so I think the Ray thing, like I think Daisy really was 21. You don't really think about their ages sometimes. Of
I
how
didn't know
young
that. Yeah. I didn't,
these
I don't
people
think I knew
actually
she
were.
was
Like
21.
Hayden was also in his young 20s, and you just don't
Yeah.
think about it because Anakin as like a character is so like this is like the mythology of Star Wars, but
Right,
that's like a
100%.
20-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
Fennec-
think like Fennec is like what? She's like 50 something, and like she looks great. Same with
Oh, yeah,
Bo-Katan,
Ming-Na,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
then,
like Ming-Na
Ming-Na
was.
Yeah,
No one
right.
was
And
a
then you
60.
got older
Age
man
difference.
Obi-Wan, who's supposed to be like 50, and he looks like he's like 70. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Age
Tatooine
Star
does
Wars.
stuff to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't,
Yeah,
don't-
It
yeah.
does. Yeah. Yeah.
don't think
it
about
does.
age in Star Wars. It's
Definitely.
don't
Yeah.
it'll hurt your
No.
head.
it'll hurt your
I like
brain.
that theory though.
Bo-Katan.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I was watching the first episode again, and there's just this one like panning shot of the kid. It's like this camera just moves around the kid. It really focuses. I'm like,
Right.
this
I
kid.
just
It
feel like
definitely
we would have
seems to be a
gotten more
significant
emphasis in the
going.
second episode on the kid
Yeah.
Yeah.
if they were to come back.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I
Definitely.
don't know. I don't know if I
Yeah.
100% buy it, but
We'll
Either
see what
way.
happens. I'm excited.
Yeah.
yeah.
So without
Um,
oh, go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead.
I actually this is I'm going off the notes here.
Off the rails.
This was something that I wanted to bring up. So I know you guys were involved with production on the Ewok Hunt fan film,
Yes.
and I know you were Aubree. Which yeah, I mean that was like I think that was one of our first.
That was our first interview,
yes,
wasn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, and then and you know I Billy and I still talk to this day. I love Billy. He's a
Oh, fun.
great dude. And yeah, I wanted to like I don't know ask about that a little bit and kind of how the shoot was and all that stuff.
Yeah, the shoot was super fun. It was we went to Yosemite. It was really,
Yeah.
really cold.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can get you some exclusive news on Ewok Hunt.
Oh,
Scoop
Pretty
exclusive
sweet.
Ewok.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can scoop now.
Ewok Hunt scoop.
Yeah.
The stuff that you're
So-
making.
This is the stuff, yeah, this is the stuff you can scoop.
So there is a final cut
Okay.
that
There
was
is.
just made. I think there might have to be a
You watched
few
it
more
last night.
edits. Yes, we watched it last night.
Yeah, because I
It
know
got
you.
delayed,
I know
yeah.
it got delayed. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is releasing on the 14th.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm the social
All right.
media
There we go.
manager, so today I'm going to have to
You're
post
saying it.
something about
Yeah.
that. But
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been super fun. Me
Yeah,
and
it sounds like it was
Justice, who's one of the writers and actors and producers, we went to middle school and high school together. He's the one who I
Oh.
was talking about earlier, who I went to Celebration with. So we've
Okay.
always been super, super tight.
That's awesome.
he's been on
And-
Convor call a few
Yeah,
times.
he's super
Yeah.
great.
Great cosplay too.
Yeah.
We just have a lot of fun together. So he goes to he just graduated.
Right.
He just graduated from the USC School of
Yes.
Cinematic Arts. Where
Yeah.
George
Yeah.
went.
That's a
Good one.
really
That's a good one.
And yeah, he's had like so much fun there, and so
Yeah.
because of that, he had me do a number of like projects with him.
Mhm.
And then when the Star Wars one was coming out, it was super exciting because I was on Kessel Run at the time,
Mhm.
and we wanted it to also be very community focused. So
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, come join the team." So I did. I went to the shoot. It was really fun, really cold because it was Yosemite. There was like snow
Yeah.
on the ground at one point, and that wasn't
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had fun doing that.
Yeah.
The
It seemed like a lot of fun.
people were
can't-
great. Yeah, it's great. There are gonna be some Easter eggs in it that are really cool.
Ooh.
So
Excited.
yeah.
Awesome.
We couldn't let
That's so
let
cool.
Ewok Hunt get Morbius. You know, it has to. You gotta,
Seriously.
Yeah.
gotta get coming
Seriously.
at 5 days.
It
All right,
must
guys.
persist.
Envenomed and Sony'd
Venomed.
and
No,
They
yeah,
actually,
Sony not
I have a
involved in
scoop.
Ewok Hunt.
I have a scoop. They delayed it to include Andrew Garfield
Yeah.
in the Ewok
Ah.
movie.
Wow.
In the
Okay.
Yeah,
Ewok
There you
movie,
go.
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Andrew
That's
Garfield
great.
Will be in
I-
the
I
film.
knew
That's
it.
what you got
I
He
to
knew
had
it.
a black robe,
Yeah.
and then we would like
Yeah.
bring him on to set.
Did he play an Ewok? He must have played. An
He
Ewok.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played the
No, he
abnormally
plays
tall Ewok.
the big dinosaur that's like in the
Ah.
Dark
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Village.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Great.
Very
He-
good.
That's
and-
awesome.
He and Tobey Maguire are actually a two-part.
Tobey
in a blur.
Maguire's in it.
in a blur. Yeah,
They
they
are,
were.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
That's great. Yeah, no, it seems awesome. I'm excited to see it because you guys are great. So and
Go check out
Billy's
Ewok Hunt.
great.
You were? Huh? Go check it out.
Check out
Check it
Ewok Hunt when it comes out.
5
yeah.
days.
It'll
You
be
can check out
on
our interview
Wolf
with them
Wolf's
too.
channel. Yeah.
Nice.
Another
There you
great
go.
channel. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
We had Dylan on as well. Yeah.
Oh,
So
great.
fun,
Dylan's
yeah.
Dylan's
Yeah.
also yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Love
Very
that guy.
creative.
Good
Very,
pod,
a very
yeah.
busy guy.
Go listen to that.
Very
podcast.
busy guy. My God. Yeah, he's great. He's going hard.
Great dancer.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah, because the
the Bad Batch
the
thing. Yeah.
Bad Batch video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Bad Batch one. Yeah,
That
was
was kind of
great.
fun. Yeah, that was great.
Well, we've been.
Well,
going,
what do we say?
Yeah, I think we've been going for like an hour now, and I think maybe we
Yeah.
pull up the list.
Did we do it?
I think we
All
pulled
right.
up the tier
So
list.
we've done this in a while because I don't really think we haven't really had a Star
had
Wars
'em on-
guest in a while, right?
Yeah, purely Star Wars guests we haven't. We've had other guests.
Yeah.
We had Spider-Man guests, but this
Oh,
is
Spider-Man
for the,
guests
This is for the
through-
Star Wars
through me.
guests. Do you want to explain it, Johnny, before we pull it up?
Me? Yeah. So Corey and Aubree. So we used to do well, I guess we still do it, but we made a tier list, and originally it was all three of our Star Wars opinions combined into a tier list. And so what we've done as we've had each guest on is they got to move one thing up or down or whatever.
Right, wherever you
Yes.
want.
And it's a mess.
It's a mess.
messy.
Well, right now,
messy
right now
tier
it's
list.
not too messy.
I don't know what it is right now.
After
but
so many guests, a lot of things we had a lot of positive guests on, and so everyone just moved
Yeah.
everything they loved up.
put everything
At
up.
first,
But
it
you
started
can
real
you
bad.
can bring things
Like,
down
when
too.
Star Wars
No.
only came on. He chose violence. He put the Clone Wars
He-
movie F. He put it in the bottom, and I went.
Can
I
you
went, oh,
believe
no.
that?
He was like, I
Should
can
I
do
Yeah.
one
should I
thing.
unveil our?
Yeah,
I might
this
choose
is-
violence
yeah.
today. I
Oh,
might
no,
choose
don't
violence.
you
I
There's a
dare.
lot of
might
positivity.
invoke
There's
it.
a lot of positivity.
lot of-
It's a
yeah.
positive list.
There it
right now.
is.
Most-
This is
this
our
is it right now.
weird
Oh,
first
man.
Star Wars tier
First
list.
Star
This
Wars
is
list.
crazy.
So each of you, I'll give you each one
Yeah.
move.
Can you
each
believe
get-
this,
you
Corey?
each get a
Yeah.
move.
You each get one
Okay.
move.
They each get one move.
So-
up, down, left,
Everything
right.
is really looking nice right now. Everyone's sharing
Yes.
the love of Star Wars. You could get the
So-
move.
Oh,
Like
we gotta add We gotta have
Visions.
Bad Batch and Visions here.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that's
do.
True. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about
Yeah.
that.
Wow, guys. This is rough.
What are you gonna do?
I can't be cliche, so I won't.
Okay.
Or you could. You could be.
You
I
could.
can't.
Yeah.
I can't
You
do
could.
that.
Do whatever you'd like.
It'll be. the end of me.
I think I know your answer, but I mean.
Yeah, I can't
well,
do that.
I know your cliche answer.
I think
at
some
least.
stuff's gonna get pulled down today.
I'm gonna
You
let
can
go
put
for this
things
one.
down.
I'm hoping
too.
something gets pulled down.
Yeah, it's
It is
been-
it is
Let's-
an
let's
option.
listen to
Okay,
some
so
violence.
this is a controversial take, and if you
Okay.
have Star Wars news on at some point after,
Oh, I know what you're gonna do.
Oh no.
they're gonna correct
No.
this.
Yes.
this?
But I
don't
I'm
know.
we
also
won't
a
have them
solo
on in a
fan, so
while
I
then.
know what you're
I
doing.
really dislike this movie because I dislike the main actor.
Okay.
No.
Let's move Solo down to F.
Jeez.
F.
Oh.
Oh my
Bam.
god.
Oh man.
Okay, I wouldn't have done that. Jeez.
That was
I
Woo!
like violence. I
That
like
is rough.
everything besides Han Solo in the movie, but because
You
of
didn't-
Solo, it's just
We need
That's
to
not
have-
violence. You chose
Yeah.
genocide.
Yeah,
That's
I,
like-
I need to. I need to get. We need to.
That
I'm
is
gonna reach out to the
insane.
Resistance broadcast right after this. We need.
Hey,
to
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest.
Oh my God.
I'm not the biggest Solo fan either. So
You all right?
I'm actually
You
gonna
I don't know if I
choose-
put in an awful, but
Yeah, I don't know if it's a. All right,
This is
Corey.
for everybody in here because everybody can agree with this. You know what? I'm gonna choose positivity and happiness, and the Clone Wars movie is gonna be bumped to number 1.
let's go.
Oh!
Number one on the list. There it is.
Right
above the
there?
rest of the Sith.
Right there.
Wow.
and more
Top of the
better than
list.
Revenge of the Sith.
That's
It's
the
not,
scale-
but it, for this purpose today. It
For
Yeah.
this purpose, yes.
That's the scale of Star Wars. It's Clone
Yeah.
Wars
The
movie at the
Clone- the
very
Clone
top.
Wars movie has a-
Solo
has
at the
been a-
very bottom. That's the range.
Yeah, the Clone Wars movie
Right.
has been a point of contention in this.
Well,
in
the-
this, in this
The
tier
fun part
list
is
for the-
each guest kind of gets to
longest
make
time.
their mark on the channel, and you guys.
You made a
You
mark.
guys quite-
That's
you
a
guys
good-
definitely made a mark here.
You put it to number one, Corey. These Clone Wars
Dang.
is number one.
Oh,
Solo on the
Wow.
bottom in F and awful.
You went
Awful.
extreme
Wow.
today.
Oh
Quite
my
extremes, yeah. Opposite
Hot
sides
damn.
of the tier here.
Well,
God. Hot damn. Get this
This
thing
is-
out of my
this is it.
state.
This
Get
is
this
it.
out of
this
my
is the
state.
new list,
This is
people.
it. This is
So
the new
this makes
tier.
Resistance better than Solo.
See, that's the
It
problem.
does.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a. You know, this is what you did. This is what you did. This is
Look
what
what
you
you
did.
did.
Look what you've done.
I put Clone Wars before Revenge of the Sith. That's a problem too.
That is
So
also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it shows different types of violence today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
There was, yes. All right.
You
Well,
made someone mad either way, so that's all that.
What do we
matters.
what do we
Yeah.
say we take this
I think,
one out?
I think we might start
Take
taking
the
this
show
one
on the
out.
road.
All
Taking
right.
on the road. Taking on the road. Oh wait, before we
Thank
go, I
you.
want to.
Oh, yes.
Hold on. I want to get this on air.
Okay.
About 10 months ago today, not today exactly, but you and Michael of Rex and Around did an episode of
yep.
Cargo Hold, and I'm still
Cargo
waiting for the
Hold.
second episode.
We're
I'm
still waiting. Levi and I
We're-
still talk about it.
We
We're
still
waiting.
talk. We're waiting. We like
we-
Black Series. I collect
Michael and I agreed every decade.
every
so-
decade.
Every
yep.
decade. All right.
The other day we
Fair.
were talking about potentially bringing the cargo hold to Convor Call.
In a decade, yeah, for sure.
In a decade,
decade.
right.
I might be able to
Makes-
dwindle that number down. For
Yeah.
10 months.
Look out, all you collectors
See.
out there. Cargo
Yeah.
Hold, the one
It's
episode
funny
that
'cause
exists.
Michael and I will always try to coordinate something, then we just like end up hanging out instead. It's just the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Michael,
all
that
good.
guy, he's got like Britney Spears riding his bike. It's crazy.
Because-
I know.
Yeah, I make fun of him all the time for that.
He
because-
manifested that because remember when he shaved his head and was like, "I'm pulling a Britney."
Yeah, well, see, I
Britney
challenge.
pulled a Michael.
He did. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I challenge
All right.
Michael every time because everyone's like, so wow, he's got all these celebrities and stuff, and I'll sit down with him and I'll go, "That's what you call him today." Like you, I'll make fun of him. It's fun. It's fun.
All right, well,
It's fun.
keep your
It's
eye
fun,
out in
Michael.
February 2031 for the second episode
20
of Cargo Hold.
that's right.
Hopefully by then
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right.
we can get
Yeah.
involved.
I'll keep
but
refreshing the
look out.
page.
I'll just keep
Yeah.
refreshing. All right,
Well
thank
then,
you
keep
guys.
refreshing.
Yeah, I think we
Thank
can do
you.
out. Who wants to
Thank
outro? We
you.
want to.
Oh, I can take it.
Start to
out.
Johnny.
Take it out. Take it out, Johnny. Take it out.
Thank you to Corey and Aubree for coming on. We cannot thank you guys enough. You guys are huge inspirations to us.
Thank you.
You
You guys are
and we're
inspirational
so
to
happy.
people. Thank you.
Oh, thank
I don't
you.
think that's true, but thank you.
I don't.
Oh, you're my Grievous, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that
come on,
moment-
man.
That
Yeah.
moment has started it all.
Lit the
But yeah,
flame.
no, I'm so glad we got to finally do this. Long time coming, but you know, glad we're here. And thank you to the viewers out there in the web. Thank you for checking us
The
out
web.
and checking out the checking out
The
checking out
intro's
the
kinda- that
podcast.
intro's kinda going too long, Johnny.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to check out the Convor Call if you've not already. And also, what was Corey's figure channel?
No.
Review channel?
Wow.
What, you wanna plug it,
All right,
Aubree?
have a good one,
Star
guys.
Wars Zumbo 98.
All right, bye guys. See you
Go
in the
check
next
that one
one.
out.
See-
All right,
yeah.
everybody.
Bye,
All
everybody.
links in the description. Go check it out.
Check it out.